Welcome to the DualSense Replacement Battery Series, where I take a deep dive into the various aftermarket batteries available for the DualSense controllers. In this episode, I'm reviewing an LUUZKLA brand replacement battery. The two-battery kit comes nicely packaged. You get two batteries, a small Phillips screwdriver, and a plastic pry tool. This is a soft pouch-style battery rated at 9200 mAh at 3.7 volts. That would theoretically make it a 34 watt-hour battery, which is obviously impossible for something this size. Just by picking it up, you can tell it's nowhere near 100 grams. One reason I ordered this kit was to see exactly how absurd that capacity claim really is. I will say, if I were scoring on appearance, this is one of the prettiest batteries I've tested so far. But unlike a lot of things in life, how this battery looks is completely meaningless. This kit costs $19 on Amazon, so that works out to about $9.50 per battery. Link in the description. Before jumping into the power charts, I want to show you something encouraging. This battery actually has a working thermistor. After the last few disappointments, I now check for one right away, so all hope isn't lost. I tested two of these batteries for over a week each. The first chart shows the minimum power delivery and runtimes I recorded. Close to 9.5 watt-hours is actually quite respectable for a battery this size, but it's nowhere near the claimed 34 watt-hours, as expected. Here are the maximum power delivery and runtimes. Very consistent numbers with only a small difference between minimum and maximum. Even at the highest values, it's still delivering under 30% of the advertised capacity. These are the averages across both batteries and all test runs. For the light rumble load, 9.57 watt-hours is solid performance for this physical size. And here are the average runtimes. With light rumble, you should easily get well over 16 hours of playtime. Now let's compare it directly to the Sony OEM reference battery. It's delivering almost twice the usable power. The runtime comparison tells the same story. Very substantial gains in playtime. Now let's look at the physical construction and specs. Length is right at 60.3 millimeters. Width is about 40.8 millimeters. And thickness is 8.1 millimeters. It should fit easily in a DualSense controller. The complete battery assembly weighs 43.9 grams, nowhere near what's needed for 34 watt-hours. The lithium polymer cell alone weighs 41.9 grams. There's very little weight in packaging or physical protection. At first, I thought this plastic layer would peel off to reveal some kind of adhesive backing, like it should have, to help hold it securely in place inside the controller. But nope, it's just a printed plastic label stuck on there. No adhesive underneath. No real protection at all. Everything is wrapped in very thin tape. This turns out to be one of the hardest batteries to open so far. And it's not high temperature tape. 520 degrees Fahrenheit melts right through it. They did add fiber strips along the cell edges, which is smart since that would be a wear point. I couldn't initially tell if the black layer was tape or the cell's outer coating. Turns out it's the cell's outer layer, and yes, I've already torn into it. The smell confirms the seal is broken. I'll put gloves on for this, just to be safe. I was a little worried about tearing into this battery, so before starting the teardown, I discharged it down to the protection cutoff. Even so, there's still enough residual energy left in there to cause some trouble. I'm going to put a low-value resistor, couple of ohms, across the terminals for a few days to bleed off any remaining charge before I start unwinding the layers. Okay, good news. I haven't damaged the cell during the initial opening. Even with a 3 ohm load across it, it's still holding around 2.9 volts. Of course, if I'd accidentally poked the tweezers straight into the pouch while prying, it probably would have started smoking, or worse. Here's the back of the protection board. These are some of the thinnest cell tabs I've seen. The connection is excellent. The tabs are sandwiched into a folded over weld pad instead of direct welding. Very nice work. Wires are well soldered too. Looks professional on this side. Here's the top side of the protection board. I actually ran all the protection circuit tests before I started tearing the battery apart, so the results you'll see in a few minutes were already in hand when I opened this up. And right away, this explains exactly why I got the readings I did. I figured this was going to be a different protection setup from the usual ones I've seen. Turns out it's not that different at its core. It's still built around the standard DW01 protection IC. The key difference is in the MOSFETs. Instead of the typical single 8205 dual MOSFET, this one uses two 8205s wired in parallel. That bad design choice, paralleling two MOSFETs, raises the overcurrent shutdown threshold way too high. That's why it didn't cut off even at 5 amps during testing. Here's the circuit diagram. The good news, it includes a thermistor. The bad news, paralleling two 8205 MOSFETs roughly halves the on-state resistance, pushing the overcurrent shutdown well above 6 amps. A single 8205 typically trips at over 3 amps. And as you will see in a bit, that is exactly what we get. Thermistor test first. Room temperature resistance is just over 10k ohms. Good sign. Applying about 400 degrees Fahrenheit heat drops it quickly, exactly as it should. Now the protection circuit test. Discharge overcurrent, no shutdown even at 5 amps. That is a fail. Discharge low voltage cutoff, triggers at 2.386 volts, standard behavior. Charge overcurrent, no shutdown at 5 amps, another fail. Charge overvoltage, cuts off at 4.292 volts, just under my 4.3 volt penalty threshold. Like I said, I did all protection tests before tearing it down. Since it failed overcurrent, no shutdown at 5 amps, I took extra care with the short circuit test. I set the electronic load to 10 amps, and it shuts down properly, so short circuit protection exists. It won't trigger at 6 amps, but it does at around 6.5 amps. You might not see it even with the lights dimmed, but this is the first battery where I could visibly spot a small arc when shorting the terminals. That is not a good feature. I was hoping episode 6 would end on a positive note, but should you buy this battery? No. Let's start with the most glaring issue, the claimed capacity. I knew the 9200 mAh number was complete nonsense the moment I saw the listings. There's no physical way a battery this size and weight could deliver anything close to 34 watt-hours, and the test results confirm it. Here's my theory on the 9200 number, and one that doesn't require assuming the seller is a straight-up scammer. There is no watt-hour rating printed anywhere on the battery or the packaging, just 9200 mAh, and standard voltage of 3.7 volts. I could see somewhere in the supply chain someone confusing milliamp hour with milliwatt hour. If that capital A had been a capital W, this battery would have gotten 5 stars for capacity accuracy. But it doesn't. It's milliamp hour, and because of that, it's wildly misleading. 0 stars. Build quality is really a mixed bag. The lithium polymer cell itself desperately needs more physical protection. It's basically just wrapped in thin tape, leaving it exposed to potential dents, punctures, or rubbing inside the controller's shell over time. They did include those fiber strips along the edges, the highest risk wear points, so that prevents it from dropping to a 1-star rating. On the plus side, the tab connections are excellent. You're never going to have a connection failure at those joints. That part is done right. You will have to supply your own double-sided tape to mount the battery. Something thin and easy to remove is the perfect type of tape. With how minimally protected the cell is, you want it securely held in place. Protection performance? Finally a real thermistor. Huge win there. Unfortunately, the parallel MOSFET design allows continuous current well over 6 amps. My hard limit is 5 amps, so 0 stars. Cost per watt hour? About 99 cents. Certainly a decent price. As we close out episode 6, the scoreboard still isn't great. Only 1 solid yes from episode 2, and then 4 straight no's. Not the start I was hoping for, but really just getting warmed up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss episode 7. Next up is the AO Likes 2700 mAh battery, capacity printed right on the cell. It looks basic, pouch cell, protection board, some Kapton tape, but who knows, it might surprise us. See you next time.